Across millennia, scattered among clay tablets, sacred scrolls, and whispered myths, humanity has preserved haunting tales of a celestial anomaly, a rogue planet, a cosmic saboteur whose rare appearance heralds disaster and upheaval. The Sumerians called it Nibiru, the planet of crossing. Egyptians feared it as the destroyer. Biblical texts knew it as the wormwood star. Are these merely the colorful myths of ancient peoples, or are they fragmented memories of an all-too-real cosmic threat? Modern science, once quick to dismiss such legends, is now forced to reconsider. In 2016, astronomers Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown from Caltech presented mathematical evidence suggesting the existence of a massive planet at the far edge of our solar system, Planet 9. Their calculations describe a world 5 to 10 times the mass of Earth, on a highly elongated orbit that takes between 10,000 and 20,000 years to complete a single revolution around the Sun. Here's where ancient myth and modern astrophysics begin to blur. Sumerian cuneiform tablets, dating as far back as the 4th millennium BCE, contain astonishingly accurate astronomical data. They describe a solar system of 12 celestial bodies, including a mysterious 12th planet, Nibiru. How did ancient people know about Neptune, discovered only in 1846, or Pluto in 1930? Were they simply guessing, or did they remember something we've forgotten? One of the most controversial voices in this debate is researcher Zecharia Sitchin. He spent decades interpreting ancient Mesopotamian texts and proposed a radical theory that Nibiru is a habitable world with a sweeping elliptical orbit, home to an advanced race known as the Anunnaki, beings who once visited Earth. Mainstream academia has rejected Sitchin's translations, but the uncanny parallels between his claims and recent astronomical findings are hard to ignore. Let's focus on what the data tells us. Something is warping the orbits of distant objects in the Kuiper Belt, a vast icy region beyond Neptune. These objects behave as if being shepherded by a massive, unseen force. The dwarf planet Sedna, for example, follows a wildly unusual orbit that can't be explained by known gravitational influences. And then there's the Kuiper Cliff, an abrupt drop-off in the number of objects beyond 50 astronomical units. What's causing it? Something or someone. These anomalies have left astronomers scratching their heads and have fueled growing speculation that a massive, unseen planet is hiding in the dark outskirts of our solar system. Ancient texts from multiple civilizations describe apocalyptic upheavals linked to a celestial intruder. The Egyptian Ipuwer papyrus eerily recounts plagues and chaos. The river is blood, the earth turned upside down, days are shrouded in darkness. The Babylonian Epic of Era speaks of a time when the stars left their appointed paths. These aren't just poetic metaphors. They're historical shockwaves echoing from a forgotten trauma. So what happens if Nibiru, or Planet 9, makes its next approach? Even without a direct collision, the consequences could be catastrophic. Its gravity might tilt Earth's axis, triggering sudden climate shifts. It could awaken tectonic fault lines and stir dormant volcanoes. Disturbed asteroid belts might send deadly space rocks hurtling toward us. It could disrupt our magnetosphere, disabling electronics and satellites. But perhaps the most chilling aspect of this theory is the cycle. Sumerian texts suggest that Nibiru returns roughly every 3,600 years. If this is true, its last passage might have occurred around 1600 BCE. a time curiously aligned with the collapse of Bronze Age civilizations, a period marked by mass migrations, natural disasters, and inexplicable cultural decline. Was this coincidence or consequence? The clock might be ticking again. Today, the hunt for Planet 9 continues, using the world's most powerful telescopes and cutting-edge simulations. We stand on the edge of either confirming the greatest myth ever told, or revealing that ancient peoples tried, in the only language they had, to warn us. It may not bear the name Nibiru, it may not carry golden tablets or alien emissaries, but if it exists, its return will reshape everything we think we know about history, science, and our place in the cosmos. One thing is certain, our solar system is far from tamed. It harbors secrets in its coldest, darkest corners, riddles older than civilization itself. And perhaps, just perhaps, the old stories were never stories at all. Maybe they were prophecies. Maybe they were the echo of survivors. Maybe the star of change is already on its way.
A massive hidden planet may be moving somewhere beyond Neptune right now. Scientists still haven't seen it directly, but multiple studies suggest something enormous is affecting the outer solar system through gravity alone. And immediately, one ancient name started spreading online again: Nibiru. According to one of the most controversial theories on the internet, Nibiru is a hidden planet connected to the mysterious Anunnaki, powerful beings described in ancient Sumerian texts thousands of years ago. Some people believe this object periodically enters the inner solar system, and that ancient civilizations may have known about it long before modern astronomy existed. Normally, theories like this would be ignored completely. But the problem is that astronomers really are searching for an undiscovered planet right now. The story starts far beyond Pluto, in the outer edges of the solar system. Over the last several years, scientists noticed something strange about the orbits of distant icy objects beyond Neptune. Instead of moving randomly, several objects appeared clustered together in ways that suggested the gravity of a much larger unseen body might be affecting them. This eventually led researchers to propose the existence of a possible hidden world known as Planet 9. Some estimates suggest this object, if it exists, could be between 5 and 10 times more massive than Earth and orbit hundreds of times farther from the Sun than our planet does. At that distance, it would reflect almost no sunlight, making direct detection extremely difficult even for modern telescopes. And that is exactly why the Nibiru theory exploded again online. Because according to older alternative theories, ancient civilizations already knew about a hidden planet long before scientists started discussing Planet 9. The civilization most often connected to this mystery is the Sumerians. More than 5,000 years ago, the Sumerians built one of the earliest advanced civilizations in human history in Mesopotamia. They developed writing, mathematics, astronomy, large cities, and detailed mythological systems. Within many of their ancient stories appear references to powerful beings called the Anunnaki. Mainstream historians interpret the Anunnaki as mythological deities connected to creation stories, kingship, and religion. But alternative interpretations claim these beings came from the sky and were associated with a wandering planet called Nibiru. According to the theory, the Anunnaki periodically traveled between Earth and this hidden world. The idea became especially popular because of certain ancient carvings and symbols. Some Sumerian artwork appears to show celestial patterns, unusual objects, and star imagery that internet theories often describe as evidence of advanced astronomical knowledge. One of the most famous examples involves the so-called Sumerian bags, strange handheld objects carved into stone reliefs thousands of years ago. Similar shapes also appear in unrelated ancient cultures, which only made the mystery grow online. Supporters of the Nibiru theory claim these symbols represent lost knowledge connected to the Anunnaki. The most extreme versions of the story go even further. Some claim the Anunnaki genetically altered early humans, helped build early civilizations, or left encoded astronomical information hidden inside myths and ancient texts. There is no scientific evidence supporting those claims. But what makes the theory difficult to completely dismiss online is the strange overlap between ancient mythology and modern astronomy. Because scientists really are searching for a large unseen object in the outer solar system. And every time new research about Planet 9 appears, the internet immediately reconnects it to Nibiru. At the same time, astronomers continue finding unusual objects beyond Neptune. Some dwarf planets and icy bodies follow orbits that still do not have perfect explanations. Researchers believe a hidden planet remains one possible answer. Powerful observatories are currently scanning deep space, searching for faint movement patterns that could finally reveal whether Planet 9 exists. So far, nothing matching the dramatic descriptions of Nibiru has ever been confirmed. No giant rogue planet is heading toward Earth. No evidence of extraterrestrial visitors has been discovered in ancient Mesopotamia. But the theory refuses to disappear for one reason. An ancient civilization described powerful beings descending from the heavens. Modern astronomers believe another massive world may still be hidden somewhere in the darkness beyond Neptune. And for millions of people online, those two stories became connected in a way that is now impossible to separate. At the edge of our solar system, there's a cold and mysterious region known as the Oort cloud. It's a hypothetical vast area of icy space objects surrounding the Sun. It's believed to lie far, far away from our star, from 2,000 to 5,000 astronomical units. For comparison, Pluto's orbit carries the planet between 30 and 50 astronomical units from the Sun. And there, in this freezing emptiness, a rogue planet may be hiding right at the moment. At least, that's what new research has recently suggested. Rogue planets are called this way because they don't orbit around any star. They wander the galaxy alone, totally untethered. Without stars, they don't have days or nights, only eternal darkness. Rogue planets are usually kicked out of their planetary systems, doomed to a solitary existence of circling the center of the galaxy on their own. Of the thousands of planets scientists have detected outside of our solar system, only a dozen or so are starless and cruising on their own. At the same time, there might be billions or even trillions of rogue planets wandering around our galaxy. If these estimations are true, it might mean that the Milky Way contains more free-floating planets than stars. Anyway, in 1907, one astronomer started a search for Planet X. It's a hypothetical giant planet moving around the Sun beyond the orbit of Neptune. The scientist was convinced that this planet existed because he had observed some irregularities in the orbits of Uranus and Neptune. His idea led to the discovery of Pluto in 1930. But the dwarf planet was too small to have any serious gravitational impact on the orbit of Neptune, let alone Uranus. These days, the Planet X theory is largely considered to be discredited, but it hasn't stopped astronomers from searching for planets in the far reaches of our solar system. And shockingly, a new study claims there might be one or even more out there, but much, much further away than predicted. An international team of scientists has recently simulated the unstable celestial mechanisms of the early solar system. They've discovered that there's a possibility that a few planet-sized bodies might have come to rest in the Oort cloud. You see, about 4.5 billion years ago, when the solar system was just forming, it was a hectic and unsettled place. Gravity sent debris from the cooling protoplanetary dust cloud hurtling around like cosmic tennis balls. From time to time, large chunks of this debris, even planet-sized ones, were sent flying far enough to escape the sun's gravity altogether. Such pieces of debris turned into rogue planets. Researchers have seen such space wanderers in distant exoplanetary systems, but according to them, there's a 0.5% chance that one or more of those wayward planets formed in the solar system and ended up in the Oort cloud after drifting away from the sun. At the same time, it's slightly more likely that a rogue, Neptune-like planet was snagged by the sun's gravity from another planetary system, and then this planet came to rest somewhere in the Oort cloud. The chances that this scenario is true reach 7%. If this turns out to be the case, then a space body similar to Planet X might indeed be hiding out there, on the outskirts of our solar system. The only problem is that it would still be too far away to have any impact on Neptune's orbit. In any case, most researchers are convinced that the Oort cloud is made up of a collection of way smaller icy objects. But given the distance to the Oort cloud and its enormous size, we may never really figure out what is lurking out there.
So, planets with two suns, like Tatooine from Star Wars, used to sound like pure fantasy. For decades, scientists believed these systems were too unstable to exist. Two stars tugging at a planet should fling it into space or drop it into one of the suns. Except, it turns out that nature didn't get the memo. Astronomers have found a planet calmly orbiting two stars like it's no big deal. This planet lives closer to its two parent stars than any other directly imaged planet in a binary star system astronomers have ever seen. Now, direct imaging means they saw the planet's light, not just its shadow. The whole system sits about 446 light-years away, so the light we see from it today left before humans ever built modern cities. This space monster is roughly 6 times the mass of Jupiter. And even more surprising, the planet is only about 13 million years old. That sounds ancient until you zoom out a little. Earth is about 4.6 billion years old, which makes this planet basically a newborn in cosmic terms. The two suns of this monster orbit each other incredibly fast and complete a full loop in just 18 Earth days. That means their gravity constantly shifts, yanking space around them like a cosmic washing machine. Even so, the planet stays locked in its path, so it takes it 300 Earth years to finish a single orbit. So nobody fully understands how this planet formed in the first place. When two stars orbit each other this closely, their gravity usually tears apart planet-forming material before anything big can take shape. Scientists have only found a few dozen planets like this so far, and that's nowhere near enough to piece together the full story. To solve the mystery, they need more data. Now, another cool find that still needs more research is a planet so stretched by gravity that it looks like a lemon, not a sphere. This planet is nothing like the calm blue and green worlds we see in space movies. It orbits a pulsar, which is basically a star's corpse. When a massive star expires, it collapses into an ultra-dense object that spins insanely fast and blasts radiation like a cosmic lighthouse. Being near one of those means game over for anything solid. And yet, this planet hangs on, barely. The gravity stretches it, pulling harder on the side facing the pulsar than the far side, like cosmic taffy. And here's where it gets extra unsettling. When scientists analyzed this planet's atmosphere, they didn't find water or oxygen. They found helium and pure carbon. No clouds, no oceans, no chance of life. According to everything we know about planet formation, this world shouldn't exist at all. So it might not be a planet in the normal sense. It could be the exposed core of a star that got shredded, leaving behind something stuck between planet and stellar corpse. That's a pretty scary trend. The line between planets and stars keeps getting blurry. And speaking of scary, meet this guy. This system lives around two red dwarf stars. These two stars orbit each other at a distance similar to how far Jupiter sits from the Sun. Scientists found two Earth-sized planets and a third possible one squeezed right up next to the stars. One planet completes a full year in just over 2 days. Another takes about 3.5 days. The candidate planet orbits even faster. To put that in perspective, these planets sit less than 2 million miles from their star. The Moon sits about 250,000 miles from Earth. So yeah, these worlds are close. When they combined data from space and ground-based telescopes, astronomers realized they were staring at something totally new: planets that transit or pass in front of both stars. Most planets in double-star systems orbit only one star, and this setup shouldn't last long according to the rules of physics. But these planets exist anyway, calmly breaking the rules. So this guy proves that planet formation works in ways we still don't fully understand, and space clearly enjoys messing with our expectations. Now, let's crank up the horror a notch. Astronomers made the first ever 3D map of a planet outside our solar system. And not just any planet. This one is so hot it literally tears water molecules apart. As the planet moved behind its star, the James Webb watched tiny changes in the star's light at different colors or wavelengths. Some colors get absorbed by water vapor, others don't. By stacking all that info together, scientists figured out temperatures at different heights and locations in the planet's atmosphere. And that's how they learned that parts of its atmosphere heat up to nearly 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than molten lava. This superhot planet sits about 400 light-years away and weighs around 10 times as much as Jupiter. It races around its star in just 23 hours. 1 year there is basically a day. And because it's so close, the temperatures get so high. Winds try to move heat around, but they totally fail. WASP-18b's atmosphere barely has any water and instead overflows with carbon monoxide. Astronomers once believed water should be common in giant planet atmospheres. This world proves water is optional, not guaranteed. Now, magma worlds are another perfect proof of that. There's a huge group of planets called sub-Neptunes, planets bigger than Earth but smaller than Neptune. For a while, some scientists hoped these worlds were Haitian planets, covered in deep oceans of water or ice, wrapped in thick atmospheres. One famous example was K2-18. Its atmosphere showed methane and carbon dioxide, but almost no ammonia. But as it turned out, lava dissolves ammonia too, so the missing ammonia doesn't prove water at all. It could just mean the planet has a global ocean of magma instead. The researchers modeled how these planets heat up, cool down, and evolve over time. They asked a simple question: do these planets ever cool enough to stop being lava worlds? And the answer was almost never. When they tested thousands of known sub-Neptunes, they say almost all of them are likely lava worlds, not water worlds. In simple terms, these planets don't breathe water vapor, they breathe rock vapor. Their atmospheres come from magma boiling, not oceans evaporating. And that changes everything. Many worlds we once labeled maybe habitable turn into hellscapes the moment you run the numbers honestly. And that means space isn't hiding Earth clones, but mass-producing furnaces and other sorts of monsters. Take this bad boy, for instance. It sits only about 64 light-years away, which is uncomfortably close in cosmic terms, and it's the nearest hot Jupiter to Earth. From afar, it looks stunning, a smooth, deep blue marble floating peacefully in space. But that color hides something absolutely brutal. On this planet, it rains glass, sideways. Winds scream across the atmosphere at around 5,400 miles per hour, fast enough to shred anything instantly. The blue color comes from tiny particles of silicate, the stuff glass is made of, floating in the air. The planet's surface temperature hits about 2,400 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt rock. That heat turns those silicates into microscopic shards of glass that whip around the planet like a worldwide sandblaster. Standing there wouldn't hurt. You wouldn't exist long enough to ever feel it. And then there's the darkest planet ever found. It reflects less than 1% of the light that hits it. It's darker than coal, darker than black paint. Light just disappears into it. Not all planets even bother with stars at all. Astronomers have found rogue planets, worlds kicked out of their solar systems. These lonely planets drift through space in total darkness, frozen and untethered, with no sunrise ever again. Now, all of this shows us that our universe isn't designed for life. Life survives despite the universe, not because of it. Earth isn't typical, it's lucky. We're only at the beginning of this discovery era. Every year, new telescopes sharpen the picture, and every year, the picture gets stranger. The more clearly we see the universe, the less it resembles our imagination. And that's the most unsettling truth of all. Attention, Earthlings! Yes, that would include you. Scientists have discovered a new member of the solar system. We officially have a new dwarf planet orbiting well beyond Neptune. But that's not all. Despite being small and unremarkable, this object, called 2017 OF201, I know it's a goofy name, might hold the key information about the speculated existence of Planet 9. Or, better said, it spoils the fun because instead of helping us find Planet 9, it could be the first tangible evidence that the theoretical ninth major planet was just that, a theory. But first, what exactly are dwarf planets? And why is this discovery so important? Well, in the early 21st century, researchers gained better telescopes and began discovering smaller, weirder celestial objects. It started with Eris in 2003, but the discovery of additional similar bodies led to Pluto losing its status as a, quote, true planet. To proudly carry the name of a planet, a space rock must check off 3 boxes. It must orbit the Sun, not another planet, like a moon would. It must be massive enough for its gravity to make it round. And it needs to be gravitationally dominant in its orbit. In other words, an object should be able to clear out most other objects in its path by absorbing them, slinging them away, or influencing them in some other way, like paying them off. Hey, just kidding. Imagine a giant, powerful truck driving in its own lane, pushing smaller cars aside. Hey, sounds like my commute. Although Pluto is orbiting the Sun and has the needed elliptical appearance, it's in the Kuiper Belt, a region full of icy objects. Because it can't clear its orbit, researchers realized that Pluto was not that different from many other similar bodies known as trans-Neptunian objects or TNOs. There are well over 5,000 known TNOs out there, with only 1,000 being officially numbered, meaning they've been studied enough to have their orbits confirmed. Now here's where it gets interesting. A while ago, scientists noted a pattern. Many of these minor planets shared similar paths and tilts. This inspired a theory that those objects were influenced by some still undiscovered Planet 9, also known as Planet X. The proposed super-Earth would have a mass 5 to 10 times greater than Earth's. It would orbit far on the outskirts, possibly as far as 500 astronomical units, and like an invisible puppeteer, manipulate the orbits of TNOs with its gravity. Some of these objects get classified as extreme trans-Neptunian objects. Let's just call them ETNOs for short. ETNOs are minor planets with an average distance of at least 150 astronomical units from the Sun. They have eccentric orbits, which can't be explained by the gravity of Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, or Jupiter. This led some scientists to conclude that Planet X must be out there. Ooh. As the years went by and more TNOs were discovered, scientists began to notice that those newly found objects didn't follow the previously established patterns. Many TNOs and ETNOs discovered in the last 5 to 6 years didn't match the same orbital parameters. Of the 6,000 objects found orbiting beyond 30 AU from the Sun, many show no signs of being influenced by a hidden planet. Well, despite that, scientists still hesitate to admit that Planet X is just wishful thinking. Not only is discovering something new exciting, but a planet like that could also protect us by pulling in asteroids from deep space. It could help explain why our solar system looks so different from many others, where super-Earths and mini-Neptunes are common. It might even solve how the solar system was formed, how objects got scattered, and what's still hiding in the dark. Discovering Planet 9 wouldn't just be cool, It could reshape everything we know about the solar system. However, with the discovery of 2017 OF201, actually that's still a mouthful. Let's call it OFI from now on. With the discovery of OFI, the whole Planet 9 theory seems to be on its last legs. So, what makes OFI so special, and how does it affect the idea behind Planet 9? The newly discovered member of our solar system is estimated to be about 430 miles in diameter. This places it in the dwarf planet category, certainly larger than many other trans-Neptunian objects, but still about one-third the size of Pluto. What stands out most is its elongated orbit around the Sun. It takes at least 25,000 years to complete one revolution. Its orbit brings it as close as about 45 astronomical units from the Sun, which is similar to Pluto's distance, and extends out as far as 1600 AU at its most distant point. This means it travels far beyond the Kuiper Belt and approaches the inner boundary of the Oort cloud. This orbit is not just extremely long, it's also highly eccentric, stretched out like a long oval. This puts it in a rare group of objects that travel to the most distant parts of our solar system. While there are objects with longer orbital periods, like comets that originate from the Oort cloud, they're much smaller than this newly discovered dwarf planet. But despite its relatively large size for such a distant object, ORFI is nearly undetectable. It spends most of its time hidden from Earth's view, far from the inner solar system and too faint for current telescopes to spot. In fact, astronomers estimate it's only visible for about 1% of its 25,000-year orbit. In fact, this new dwarf planet came closest to the Sun in 1930, the same year Pluto was discovered, yet it slipped away unnoticed. Nobody spotted it back then, and it only got discovered in May 2025 completely by accident. By digging through archived data from publicly available telescopes, researchers pieced together its location from 19 separate images taken over 7 years. That's impressive detective work. So, what does all of this mean for Planet X? The archive photos have revealed that this object's orbit does not match any of the orbital clustering previously used to support the Planet 9 hypothesis. It doesn't belong to the same group as other ETNOs, and, more importantly, if a hidden planet is really tugging on celestial bodies, ORFI should have been flung out of the solar system millions of years ago. If Planet 9 was where we speculated and had the predicted mass, then ORFI's current orbit wouldn't last. It would likely be altered or even destroyed within about 100 million years. However, its orbit appears stable and undisturbed, suggesting it has been like this for far longer. But wait, you exclaim. If the mysterious orbit of OFI is not caused by an invisible giant planet, what else could it be? Well, space is full of surprises, and gravity isn't exclusive to planets. One idea is that the orbit has been stretched over time by galactic tides. Just like the Moon pulls on Earth's oceans, the Milky Way galaxy itself pulls ever so gently on everything in the solar system. It's a slow, steady force. But if you're far out enough, like OFI is, even that gentle tug can twist your orbit over millions of years. Now, another possible explanation could be that a passing star may have come to our solar system a long time ago, especially during its formation. Back when the Sun was young and surrounded by newborn stars, one could have passed close enough to give some outer objects a gravitational nudge. That kind of flyby could have easily yanked an icy object into a stretched-out tilted orbit. The third idea is that such unusual orbits are leftovers from the early solar system, when planets and debris were being flung all over the place. Some may have ended up in stable but extreme orbits, like OFI, the dwarf planet. If something really is pulling on these distant objects from outside our solar system, something like the galaxy itself, then we lack models to explain it. It's remarkable that we've managed to spot OFI in the first place. These objects only appear when close to the Sun, so we've likely seen just a fraction of what's out there. There could be hundreds or even thousands of similar rocks, all with strange orbits and mysterious origins. Which means the real mystery might not be a hidden planet, but the hidden world of space rocks quietly orbiting in the dark, waiting to be found. Now, if Earth were the size of a nickel, Neptune would be about as big as a baseball. That's impressive, but it's nothing compared to the giant ninth planet that might be hiding out there. Now, our Planet 9's discovery saga might have finally come to an end. Turns out, the problem wasn't where we were looking, but how. And researchers might have just made the biggest solar system discovery in decades. You see, the idea of finding a planet beyond Neptune has been around for years now. I know, back in school, you probably learned that the ninth planet was Pluto. But forget about Pluto. It's been demoted to a less fancy category since 2006. What I'm talking about is the Planet 9, a hypothetical giant planet that could be our cosmic neighbor. We've never actually seen it, but scientists are pretty sure it's out there somewhere, hiding in the outer solar system. To explain why they think that, we need a sheet of paper. Hey, here's one. We place a coin on it, and suddenly, it starts to move. Unless we're talking about some kind of superpower, there's no way this coin is moving on its own, right? So, you figure someone must be on the other side, holding a magnet and moving it around. You can't see the magnet, but it explains why the coin is moving. That's kind of what's happening with Planet 9. We can't see it, we can't prove it, yet, but its existence could explain the strange movements we see out there in space. For example, the planets in our solar system orbit on a flat plane that's tilted about 6 degrees relative to the Sun. But why 6 degrees? Well, no one really knows for sure. Some scientists think those orbits might be slightly tilted because of the pull of a ninth planet. Its existence could also explain the unusual paths of smaller objects in the distant Kuiper Belt, a region full of icy debris that stretches far beyond Neptune's orbit. Back in 2016, researchers from Caltech published a study about Planet 9. They suggested it could have a mass about 10 times that of Earth and follow a highly elongated path. That's a scientific way of saying it takes forever to make one trip around the Sun. Because of that, it would be located in the outer solar system, far, far away. It would orbit the Sun about 20 to 30 times farther out than our most distant planet, Neptune. According to scientists, Planet 9 would take up to 20,000 Earth years to complete just one full orbit around the Sun. Since it's crazy far out there, it's almost impossible to see it. So, as cool as this hypothesis sounds, we've never found solid evidence that Planet 9 actually exists. But we might be pretty close. In May 2025, a team at National Tsinghua University might have made one of the most exciting solar system discoveries ever. Alright, so there's a hypothesis that Planet 9 hasn't been discovered yet because we haven't been using the right method. This new study raises an interesting question. What if Planet 9 actually looks brighter in infrared light than it does in visible light? Let me explain. Scientists have been trying to spot Planet 9 by its reflected light. But here's the problem. To spot it in visible wavelengths, sunlight would have to travel all the way out to Planet 9, bounce off its surface, and then travel all the way back to Earth. If a Neptune-sized planet were about 10 times farther away than Neptune, it would look about 10,000 times fainter. But a planet's own thermal radiation, its heat, only has to make a one-way trip. So in infrared light, Planet 9 would only be about 100 times fainter. That's why it makes more sense to look for it using space-based infrared telescopes. And that's the idea behind this new study. The team started digging through archives, searching for old infrared sky survey data, and they pulled it from two main sources. First, IRIS, a satellite launched in the 80s that scanned the sky for almost a year. Then, the Japanese satellite Akari, another infrared observatory that operated between 2006 and 2011. So basically, they compared objects that showed up in IRIS database and noticed which ones had moved by the time Akari took its observations. And by doing that, the researchers found something incredible, an object that might just be our long-lost ninth planet. Because if something moves, it could be a planet orbiting the Sun, right? And yeah, they did find some celestial objects showing tiny movements. But before jumping to conclusions, they had to rule out the parallax effect. And that's something really important when we're talking about solar system discoveries. To explain it, I need you to do something. Hold one finger in front of your face. Close one eye, and now switch. Your finger seems to move a tiny bit, right? That's because you're looking at it from a slightly different angle, from one eyeball to the other. The same thing happens when we look out into space from Earth. Since our planet orbits the Sun, our view of very distant objects shifts just a little. That effect is called parallax. My point is, because of this effect, Planet 9 would appear to move across the sky as Earth goes around the Sun. On any given day, it might seem to be in one spot, but 6 months later, when Earth is on the opposite side of the Sun, it would look like it shifted. 6 months after that, it would seem to move back again. Scientists had to account for parallax. Actually, they had to remove its effects. So the team looked at images of the sky taken on the same date every year. Because on that same date, Earth is always in the same spot in its orbit. That means if Planet 9 is real, it would show up in the same place in those images every year. No fake wiggle from parallax, just its real position. This careful search led them to a single object, a tiny dot in the infrared data. This strange little spot had moved slightly along its orbit around the Sun over the 23 years between Iris and Akari. Wait, could that be it? Did astronomers just confirm a hidden planet? Well, maybe. But don't get too excited. The data we have on its motion over that time is not enough to figure out its full orbit. So, for now, we still can't say for sure if this mysterious object is really Planet 9. It's definitely a strong candidate, though. Based on how bright the object appears, the team estimates it could be pretty massive, and that came as a big surprise. You see, previous NASA research ruled out any Jupiter-sized or Saturn-sized planets hiding out there, but a smaller world would have gone undetected. So the scientists were looking for something just a bit bigger than Earth. But it turns out this mysterious planet might be more massive than Neptune. Now that they've discovered Planet 9, supposedly at least, the plan is to keep tracking it and collecting new data. But don't think the road ahead will be easy. Because since the Akari satellite spotted it for the first time, that object didn't just sit still. It's been moving slowly through space ever since. So now scientists need to use regular telescopes on Earth to look for it again. And here's the tricky part. They're not exactly sure where it moved to, so they have to search a pretty big patch of the sky. And so far, no matching object has been found. Whether this really turns out to be the Planet 9 discovery or not, only time will tell. For now, its existence is still up for debate. But with powerful new technology on the way, like NASA's Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope, astronomers are more determined than ever to uncover the truth. And if Planet 9 really is out there, hiding in the cold, dark edges of our solar system, it's running out of places to hide.
For thousands of years, people knew only about the planets Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, which they could see using simple telescopes, or even by the naked eye if conditions were good. But in the late 18th century, a famous astronomer named Sir William Herschel discovered a new planet that was icy blue in color. At first, people thought it was a star, but later they realized it was a planet. Today, we know it as Uranus, a planet that's more than 19 times farther away from the Sun than Earth. It's so far away that it takes Uranus 84 years to complete one trip around the Sun. This astronomer also discovered many other interesting things in space, like double stars and nebulae. In the mid-1800s, scientists noticed something pulled Uranus and strangely tugged its orbit. They thought there must be another planet out there, and they used math to predict where it would be. Finally, in 1846, they found Neptune using a telescope. It was too faint to see with the naked eye because it was too far away from the Sun. It was all so exciting. Who knows how many other planets could be there, lurking in the darkness of our solar system? Back in the mid-1800s, astronomers noticed something unusual was happening in the sky. A small rocky planet named Mercury was behaving strangely. It didn't follow the predictable orbit that was expected of it. One of the astronomers was a brilliant French scientist named Urbain Le Verrier. He came up with a theory that there could be another planet in our solar system no one had yet discovered. It would be located somewhere between Mercury and the Sun. This hypothetical planet, which he named Vulcan after the Roman god of fire, would have an incredibly hot surface, and it could be a potential explanation for Mercury's strange behavior. He never surely claimed Vulcan was really the one thing disturbing the orbit of Mercury. But, excited by the possibility of discovering a new planet, astronomers all over the world took the idea of Vulcan. For a planet that didn't exist, people committed to developing ideas and getting information about it. Some scientists didn't think it was likely that they had missed another planet as big as Mercury. It would have been hard not to see it by then. But there was a tiny chance of a smaller planet existing inside Mercury's orbit that was too close to the Sun, so no one could see it. One theory said it was about 13 million miles away from the Sun. Mercury is the planet with the most eccentric orbit in our solar system, but the closest point it gets to the Sun is about 28.5 million miles. This means Vulcan would be under half of that distance. The theory moved on, saying that if Vulcan existed, it would orbit the Sun every 19 days and 18 hours, and its path would be tilted about 12 degrees relative to the path of other planets in our solar system. Vulcan's position at its furthest point from the Sun would still be too close to the Sun to be seen with the naked eye, even during twilight. The only chance of seeing Vulcan would be during a solar eclipse, or when it passed in front of the Sun, which, as the theory said, would be 2 to 4 times a year. They had a theory that this mysterious planet was so close to the Sun that it could only be seen during a total solar eclipse when the moon blocked out the Sun's blinding glare. So, every time there was an eclipse, scientists would peer at the Sun, hoping to catch a glimpse of Vulcan. They were trying really hard, but no matter what, they couldn't find this mysterious planet. Some astronomers claimed to have spotted it during eclipses, but no one could ever confirm or find evidence for that. The theory of Vulcan was left waiting for some better times. Einstein had a different idea. You know about his theory of general relativity, right? That's where he claimed gravity wasn't some sort of natural force, but a result of space-time curved because of the presence of giant space objects, like planets and stars. Planets circle around the Sun in their usual orbit because space-time is curved. That means the planets are kind of falling towards the central star of our solar system. And Einstein tried to explain Mercury's unusual orbit using his own theory of relativity. Unlike the other planets in our solar system, Mercury's orbit wasn't that circular. Instead, it seemed to wobble slightly, as if there was an invisible force pulling it away. Einstein said this could be happening because the massive gravity of our Sun was actually curving the fabric of space-time around it. He claimed it's possible this changed Mercury's orbit a little bit. It took the scientific community a while to test this theory, but it eventually seemed like the most plausible explanation. Even though Einstein's theory gave us a more elegant explanation for Mercury's strange orbit, some scientists were still holding out hope for Vulcan. It was especially hard to let go of the idea of Vulcan because Mercury is also the planet that's really hard to see from where we're standing. But later, more and more scientists started accepting Einstein's theory above their imagination, and they would observe a total solar eclipse specifically to test Einstein's theory of relativity, not because of Vulcan. And Vulcan is not the only hypothetical planet everyone was talking about. In the newer age, some believe there could be a mysterious planet lurking in the outer part of our solar system, but this one is more likely to exist. No one has seen it directly yet, but computer simulations show this so-called Planet 9, or Planet X, is probably somewhere there beyond Neptune. Neptune and Planet X could be similar in size. Planet X could be 10 times more massive than Earth and circles around our Sun in an elongated shape, which is on average 20 times farther from the Sun than Neptune. A year there may last between 10,000 to 20,000 Earth years. By comparison, A year on Neptune lasts 165 Earth years. Something this big moving out there beyond Neptune could explain the unusual orbits of smaller objects in the Kuiper Belt. The Kuiper Belt is the area of our solar system beyond Neptune and where it orbits. And there are most likely many asteroids, comets, and some other smaller bodies there, mostly made of ice. There was another hypothetical planet called Nibiru. Remember those rumors that the world could end back in 2012? One of the popular scenarios was Nibiru, which some claimed would hit our home planet at the end of the year. Of course, nothing happened. We're still here, all set and good, but the idea of Nibiru seemed interesting. Stories started in the 1970s when a man named Zecharia Sitchin mentioned Nibiru in his book, The 12th Planet, claiming it orbits the Sun every 3,600 years. But there's no chance a planet with such an eccentric orbit wouldn't disrupt other planets in our solar system with its gravity. And if it was really coming that close to Earth in 2012, we were supposed to be able to see it with the naked eye. Some simple calculations showed Nibiru would have been nearly as bright as Mars at its dimmest and brighter than the faintest stars you see from a city. Oh well, maybe we'll have more luck in the next 3,500 and something years. In 2011, a comet named Elenin appeared that many people thought could be Nibiru. But when you're looking at comets and planets through a telescope, you see they appear differently. A comet has a coma, which is a gas atmosphere, together with a tail, something a planet doesn't have. Plus, this comet didn't slam into the Earth. It came too close to our Sun and fell apart. The leftover pieces will continue moving on their way to the outer solar system for the next 12,000 years. We've discovered Kepler-22b, a small exoplanet in the Cygnus constellation. Seems like nothing important, right? But it's actually a big deal. This is the first planet located in the habitable zone that was found by the Kepler telescope. In other words, there may be water on this planet, and if there's water, there may be life. Kepler-22b can become our new potential home. So let's take a closer look at it. Actually, discovering new planets is not easy at all. Not all of them can be seen through our super cool telescopes, even the almighty Hubble. Sometimes, the stars are so small and dim that it's really hard to find them on a map. The same thing happened with Kepler-22. In such cases, scientists have to use a special method. First, they take a bunch of photos of the star in different periods of time. Then, they look at them and think, are there any dark dots on this star somewhere? And if they find one, that might be a planet. These photos actually help us to discover some very important stuff. Like, first of all, this planet exists. Secondly, here is its size, radius, and proximity to the star. And finally, will we be able to live there? Now we know that Kepler-22b is very similar to our planet and could potentially become a second Earth. It's also very close to us, only 635 light-years away. Yeah, it's about 3 quadrillion miles, but this is one of the closest options. Kepler-22, the star of Kepler-22b, is a yellow dwarf. It's very, very similar to our Sun. The same size, the same radius, even the age is almost the same, 4 billion years. The difference is only in luminosity. It's about 20% dimmer than the Sun. So, no matter how much you strain your eyes, you won't see this star in the night sky. The planet Kepler-22b is about 2.4 times larger than our Earth, and that's pretty good. More radius means more potential water and space to live. Although going from one city to another would take a while. It's scary to even imagine a 3-day-long plane flight. We don't know the exact mass of this planet, but scientists think it's bigger than Earth's. Actually, the mass of Kepler-22b can be up to 36 times greater than that of our planet. What does it mean? Vigorous gravity. If the planet is 36 times heavier than Earth, then gravity there will be about 6 times stronger. Can you barely lift 20 pounds of potatoes? Try 120. Not to mention that you yourself can become much heavier on that planet. You'll have to get incredibly pumped up just to walk there. You have to literally turn yourself into a bodybuilder just to get to work. The worst thing is that with such gravity, it'd be incredibly difficult for plants to survive there. They'd need at least a little freedom to rise up from the ground. And animals. Our dogs and cats would have to turn into little balls of muscle to survive there. But if this planet has its own animals or other inhabitants, we can roughly imagine what they may look like. They probably have a lot of legs to make moving easier. They aren't really tall, but they're very massive and extremely strong. Muscular giant spiders? Could be worse, I guess. The good news is that this is all unconfirmed information. If we're very lucky, and gravity there turns out to be just a bit stronger than Earth's, then, of course, it'll be much easier to live there. The next thing we know about Kepler-22b is that it's about 15% closer to its star than we are to the Sun. If Kepler-22b existed in our solar system, it would be located somewhere between Earth and Venus. Does that mean we're all going to burn? No, silly. As I mentioned before, the star Kepler-22 is pretty cold, just some 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's why we can assume that the temperatures on Kepler-22b will be about the same as we have on Earth. If the planet orbits its star the same way Earth orbits the Sun, which we don't actually know, Kepler-22b can rotate around its star on its side, like, for example, Uranus. What? Didn't you know Uranus is actually lying on its side? Also, look at its rings. Yes, Uranus also has rings, like Saturn, but they're vertical. The universe is truly a mysterious place. So, if Kepler-22b is really something like that, then the weather on the planet will be, to put it mildly, not very good. Incredibly cold winters will be regularly followed by hot summers. And, just like with tidally locked planets, we'd be able to live more or less comfortably only on the narrow piece of land between these two crazy sides. Let's hope that this is not the case and the planet rotates normally. But it's not all that bad. Studies show that there may be an ocean on Kepler-22b. You already know that water means life, but in this case, it's also a big plus because a planet covered by an ocean always has more stable temperatures. The water absorbs some of the heat and distributes it evenly across the planet. The hot parts cool down, and the icy ones warm up. By the way, that's exactly what happened to Earth billions of years ago. When our planet started getting its first little puddles, our beloved moon helped these puddles to spread all over the planet. Thanks to this, a burning horror that used to be our Earth turned into a cute little ball full of life. So, if Kepler-22b has water but no atmosphere, scientists think that the average temperature there could be around 12 degrees Fahrenheit. But if there's also an Earth-like atmosphere, then the temperature can reach 72 degrees Fahrenheit. That would be nice. And finally, 1 year there is equal to 290 Earth days, about 9 months. The planet has no natural satellites, so unfortunately, we'd have to say goodbye to a beautiful view of the moon. On the bright side, we'd probably be able to see the sun as a distant little star. We could admire it in the night sky, remembering our home, while not hiding from giant spiders. And this is all that we know at the moment. Unfortunately, it's quite difficult to explore such planets, so there's a lot of very important data that we don't know. For example, what kind of planet is this anyway? Yep, we're missing the most important information about Kepler-22b. We don't know if it's a rocky planet or not. And if not, then all the previously mentioned information means nothing. It may turn out to be a gas planet, or a planet covered with gas but with a solid core, like Neptune, or a water world covered with a giant ocean. In this case, it better be a water planet. Then at least we could build some kind of underwater city there. We could filter the water and eat fish, until we evolve into an amphibious species. Does it even count as evolution if we go back to our roots? Scientists, however, think that Kepler-22b may turn out to be a Neptune-like planet. Some astronomers have even assigned the planet to a category of mini-Neptunes. Yes, this is a real planetary category. But this hasn't been proven yet. But even if, fortunately for us, Kepler-22b turns out to be a rocky planet, we still don't know what the atmosphere is like there. Does it exist at all? What if it turns out to be something like the atmosphere of Venus, which is more toxic than your ex? Then we'd have to dig deep underground to somehow survive on this planet. And then we'd have to come up with a heat source, because it's pretty cold underground. Yeah, let's hope this won't be the case. There are many possibilities with Kepler-22b. So far, we don't have a clear answer. But let's hope that scientists will find it before we load the first people into shuttles and send them to conquer Kepler-22b. That would be awkward if it turns out to be a gas planet, or something like that.
Have you heard about Planet 9? No, not Pluto. We're talking about something lurking on the outskirts of the solar system. A mysterious planet that exists in our solar system that we haven't yet discovered. We've been looking for it for years, but finally, it seems like scientists found a key to solve this mystery. Planet 9 is a hypothetical planet. Astronomers have been on the hunt for it for quite some time now. But it's so elusive that they've only been able to piece together a few details about its potential characteristics. One thing we do know is that Planet 9 has to be a massive world, possibly up to 10 times the mass of Earth. That's one big planet. It's also thought to be a distant wanderer, hanging out somewhere between Neptune and Pluto. Some scientists think that Planet 9 might actually be a mini Neptune, with a thick, gaseous atmosphere and a rocky core. Others speculate that it could be an icy world with a solid, frozen surface and a thick layer of hydrogen and helium gas. Of course, since we haven't actually found Planet 9 yet, we can't say for sure what it's like. We're not even sure that it even exists. Some say it's just a myth, like the Tooth Fairy or the Easter Bunny, but others are convinced that it's out there somewhere. And at the end of the day, we're not entirely sure if Planet 9 is even a planet. It might be a special kind of black hole or made entirely of dark matter. The search for Planet 9 began in the early 21st century when a group of astronomers realized that something wasn't quite right with the outer reaches of our solar system. They noticed that some distant objects, known as trans-Neptunian objects, were behaving in unexpected ways. Trans-Neptunian objects, or TNOs, are like the cosmic version of those items in the back of your fridge that you forgot about for years. They're small, icy bodies that hang out in the Kuiper Belt, beyond Neptune. So, scientists noticed that these guys started behaving weirdly. At first, they thought it might be a fluke. But as they dug deeper, they began to suspect that there was a ninth planet lurking out there. Why haven't we discovered it yet, you ask? Well, it may be because of Planet 9's weird orbit. All the other 8 planets orbit the Sun in roughly the same plane, which is like a flat disk. However, our hypothetical friend's orbit is different. It might be tilted and move in a different direction compared to the other planets. Its orbit might also be stretched out like an oval, rather than being nearly circular like usual. Because of this, Planet 9 might spend most of its time far from the Sun, like a true introvert. It only comes relatively close to the inner solar system every few thousand years. This would make it super faint and hard to spot, so the only way we may discover it is by studying the gravitational effects it has on our solar system. And this isn't the first time astronomers have gone looking for a new planet. Back in the 19th century, there was a similar hunt for a hypothetical Planet X. But this time, they were armed with much better technology and a much better sense of humor. They began calling their elusive quarry Planet 9, which was much catchier than Planet X. They even came up with a hashtag for the search, Pluto Lives. It was a reference to the fact that Pluto had been kicked from the planet gang, and some astronomers were eager to find a new planet to take its place. But the search for Planet 9 has been no easy task. It's like trying to find a lost sock in the laundry basket the size of a football stadium. It's so far away and so faint that even the most powerful telescopes can't see it. Instead, astronomers have had to rely on indirect evidence, like the strange orbits of TNOs, to try to figure out where it might be. Some scientists have even supposed that it might be a wandering rogue planet, which would explain why it's so hard to find. But they haven't given up hope. Till this day, they're scouring the skies using all sorts of high-tech telescopes and fancy algorithms to try and spot this elusive planet. And fear not, dear curious human, because it looks like after so many years of research, we may have finally found the key to solve this mystery. Astronomer Man Ho Chan from Hong Kong has a theory. He believes that Planet 9 could have a bevy of moons. That's right, not only is it a giant planet hiding out in the depths of space, but it's also a bit of a hoarder. Moons are all the rage in the outer solar system. In fact, almost every planet here has at least one moon, except for Mercury and Venus. Earth has just one, which is kind of sad if you think about it. Even non-planetary bodies like Pluto have at least a couple of moons. A bit unfair, isn't it? Anyway, taking this into account, let's go moon picking with Planet 9. The region between the rock-filled Kuiper Belt and the rock-filled Oort cloud, where this planet is predicted to be, should be ripe for the picking. Chan made some calculations and determined that it would be stranger if the elusive planet didn't have any satellites. According to his calculations, an object the mass of Planet 9 should capture at least 20 TNOs as large as almost 90 miles across. It's like our mysterious planet is playing cosmic Pokemon with these guys. So, what if Planet 9 has moons? Would that make any difference? Kinda, yes. They could give us some indirect clues to finally locate this mysterious planet. Now, you might be thinking, how in the cosmos can we possibly spot these teeny tiny moons? It's not like they're going to wave a giant flag or blast some Beyoncé tunes to get our attention. Well, apparently the key lies in something called tidal heating. Tidal heating might sound like a new workout trend, but it's a real scientific phenomenon. It happens when two celestial bodies are close together. You see, tides aren't just about the rise and fall of the ocean, they're also the result of gravity pulling unevenly on a planet or moon. When a planet and a moon are close enough to each other, their gravity pulls on each other, creating a bit of a football shape. And as these celestial bodies move around each other, they shift shape and generate friction inside, which produces heat. Wow, who knew that Planet 9 could have a workout routine? Perhaps we should start calling it Gym Planet instead. Anyway, if Planet 9 has any moons, the gravitational pull from these moons would cause it to change shape constantly, generating heat in the process. And we might be able to detect this mysterious planet through the heat produced by those moons, even though it gives off no other signals. Now, before you get too excited, finding them won't be a walk in the park. They're incredibly small and would be very far away from us. But hey, nothing worth discovering ever came easy, right? Scientists are optimistic that with the right technology, they can spot this telltale sign. It will be easier for us to spot them with fancy instruments like modern telescopes. Talk about cool friends to have, right? Sure, the process of finding it may be difficult and time-consuming, but the potential payoff is huge. Finding this planet could explain a lot of the strange behavior observed in TNOs, the Kuiper Belt, and beyond. As we've already mentioned, they've been acting super weird lately, tilting and aligning in suspicious ways. If this planet doesn't actually exist, we have yet to explain what is the reason for this strange behavior. In any case, the search for Planet 9 is one of the most exciting and intriguing quests in modern astronomy. It's like a cosmic scavenger hunt, and everyone's invited to join in on the fun. So, grab your telescopes and let's go planet hunting. Who knows, maybe we'll find it sooner than we think.
Now picture a strange world where molten metal falls from the sky. A planet where it rains glass, sideways. A place where the winds are many times the speed of sound. Even though these planets sound like stuff from a nightmare, they do exist. Would you survive on any of them? Nope. But come on, let's see why. Now, brace yourself, and I mean it literally, because WASP 127b is terrifyingly windy. On Earth, our most powerful storms produce winds around 200 miles per hour. And even Neptune, the windiest planet in our solar system, tops out at about 1,100 miles per hour. But on 127b, winds dash across the equator at a staggering 20,500 miles per hour. That's 35 times faster than a jet and faster than the speed needed to orbit the Earth. 127b orbits a star similar to our Sun, but it's super close to its parent star, only 4.3 million miles away. That's why it takes just 4.2 days to make a full orbit. The heat there is insane. Cloud tops reach 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, which is enough to melt almost, anything. And 127b is supermassive. Well, kind of. It's a gas giant with a diameter 1.3 times that of Jupiter, but only 1/6 of Jupiter's mass, which makes it a giant, hot, puffy balloon floating in space. The planet's atmosphere is so expanded that it's basically a boiling, raging storm globe, completely unlivable. If you somehow ended up on 127b, survival would be, impossible. The winds would toss you around, the extreme heat would cook you, and the planet itself would offer no solid ground to stand on. You wouldn't be able to breathe, move, or survive even for a second in these extreme conditions. But shockingly, that's not the worst planet you could land on. Imagine a world where it literally rains iron. This is WASP 76b, a planet so close to its star that the day side scorches at over 4,300 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to vaporize metals into gas. The night side is cooler, but still a blistering 2,500 degrees. Such a temperature makes those metals condense into clouds and rain down, like molten malted milk balls falling from the sky. The planet orbits its star every 43 hours, and it's tidally locked, which means that one of its sides always faces the star. The winds on the planet are absolutely insane, blowing up to 11,200 miles per hour. They zoom across the planet, fueled by the extreme temperature difference between day and night. And 76b is huge. It's a gas giant twice the size of Jupiter. It's practically sitting on the edge of its star's outer atmosphere. Scientists say we don't fully understand the physics here. Eventually, this planet could spiral into its star, or radiation could strip away its atmosphere, leaving only a scorching rocky core. Now, a human on 76b wouldn't last a fraction of a second. The day side would instantly vaporize you, just like the night side. And don't forget about the winds. You'd be ripped apart before you even touch the ground. And iron rain would slam down around you like fiery pellets. Sounds like a place to avoid. Now, if you're looking for long-term real estate investments, avoid WASP 12b. This planet is over 1,300 light-years away in the Auriga constellation. It orbits its Sun-like star extremely closely, completing one orbit in just over one Earth day, about 26 hours. The planet's surface temperature reaches nearly 4,600 degrees Fahrenheit. It is 40% more massive than Jupiter, but powerful tidal forces stretch it into a football shape. But the main problem is that the atmosphere of this planet has expanded to nearly 3 times Jupiter's radius and is being pulled onto the star. And that means the planet is slowly being destroyed. Astronomers think that in about 3 to 10 million years, the planet could be gone for good. They found a huge cloud of stuff flying off the planet, including chemicals never seen on other planets before. No one would survive on 12b. The surface temperature is hotter than molten lava or any furnace on Earth. Any protective suit would fail instantly. The atmosphere is being ripped away by the planet's star, so there's no breathable air, just superheated hydrogen and helium streaming away into space. Plus, the gravity is extreme, so moving there would be, well, impossible. In any case, you would be vaporized almost instantly before trying to take a step. But however bad this planet sounds, the next world on our list beats it, because it rains glass on this planet. HD 189733b, I'll just nickname it Bubba, is a truly terrifying place, just 64.5 light-years from Earth. It's a gas giant, slightly bigger than Jupiter, and about 11% wider. But don't let that fool you. This world is a nightmare. Winds roar across the planet at up to 5,400 miles per hour, which is about 7 times the speed of sound. Temperatures soar between 1,600 and 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt metal. The planet also spins incredibly fast, completing one orbit in just 2.2 days. It races around its star at roughly 341,000 miles per hour. Its cobalt blue color comes not from water, but from a scorching, hazy atmosphere filled with silicate clouds. These clouds can condense into glass, and the planet's hurricane-force winds likely fling it sideways, making the rain fatal. Bubba is a hot Jupiter, a huge gaseous planet racing in a tight orbit around its star. It's also one of the most extreme, hostile worlds astronomers have ever found. If you somehow ended up in this world, survival would be out of the question. The heat alone is lethal. Insane winds would slam you around. An umbrella wouldn't save you from glass raining sideways, which would shred you in seconds. In short, you wouldn't last a heartbeat in this inhospitable world. But there's a planet that makes almost every other world look tame. It's Gliese 436b. It's small for an exoplanet, roughly the size and mass of Neptune, but don't let that fool you. Its proximity to its star turns it into one of the most extreme planets we know. 436b orbits a red dwarf star just 2.5 million miles away. To put that into perspective, Mercury, the closest planet to our Sun, is nearly 36 million miles out. This means that 436b races around its star every 2 days and 15.5 hours. That's lightning fast. A year there is shorter than a long weekend on Earth. The surface temperature is a balming 820 degrees Fahrenheit, which doesn't sound too bad in comparison. But there's the twist. The planet is covered with ice. Now, that's not ordinary ice, though. This is Ice 7, a dense, crystalline form of water created under unimaginable pressure. Imagine water so tightly packed that instead of melting under extreme heat, it remains solid. Scientists call it burning ice, and it's a form of ice that Earth laboratories can only replicate under controlled conditions. The atmosphere of the planet is just as bizarre. The planet is mostly hydrogen, like a gas giant, but it contains 7,000 times less methane than expected. Instead, astronomers find a surprising amount of carbon monoxide, which shouldn't survive in such heat. To make it even stranger, 436b is losing its atmosphere. The planet is wrapped in a huge cloud of hydrogen, probably pushed out by the strong gravity from being so close to its star. This cloud is 50 times bigger than the star itself. Unlike a comet's tail, it doesn't get blown away. It follows the planet. Astronomers think that 436b has already lost up to 10% of its atmosphere. Now, if a human, like you, somehow landed on Gliese 436b, survival would be impossible from the first second. The surface temperature is hot enough to vaporize skin and incinerate anything exposed. The gravity is crushing because the planet is dense and packed tightly with matter, which would make a person feel like trying to lift a car with every step. Even worse, can it get worse? Yes. The atmosphere is mostly hydrogen with high levels of carbon monoxide. Breathing would be instantly toxic, and a single inhale would shut down your lungs. And that burning ice is so solid under pressure that even if you somehow avoided the heat and toxic air, the ground itself would be a strange, brittle, crystalline surface that could fracture or collapse underfoot. Add to that the planet's rapid orbit. Completing a full year so fast means winds and atmospheric currents are extreme. No shelter, no suit, and no parachute could protect you. In short, you would be instantly boiled, crushed, and poisoned, all while the strange dense ice underfoot refuses to melt. Well, bye-bye. So, we might be getting closer to finding a massive icy planet beyond Neptune's orbit. Sorry Pluto, still not you. Recently, some universe mapping using data from a telescope in Hawaii eliminated about 78% of the possible locations for this mysterious Waldo from space. Some people call it Planet 9, while others prefer Planet X. Either way, it's been causing controversy since its existence was first proposed, and that is mainly because no study so far can answer the big question: does it really exist? If discovered, Planet 9 would rank as the 5th largest planet in our solar system, with a mass 10 times that of Earth. It's also theorized to be gaseous, like Uranus. The initial study on Planet 9, dating back to 2016, suggests that this colossal new planet orbits the Sun 29 times farther out than Neptune, which sits at about 2.8 billion miles. As a result, the Planet 9 would take between 10,000 and 20,000 years to complete a single orbit around the Sun. If confirmed, this yet-to-be-understood world would dominate a region larger than any other known planet in our cosmic neighborhood. These are all intriguing hypotheses, but without a single piece of evidence or observation to back them up. Before dismissing this as a wild guess, it is important to note that these researchers relied on complex mathematical modeling and computer simulations to speculate about the planet's characteristics, because that's what they do. The hypothetical presence of this planet would explain various mysterious features located beyond Neptune. We are specifically talking about the Kuiper Belt, a huge donut-shaped region filled with icy debris left over from the formation of the solar system, including comets and dwarf planets like Pluto. What happens is that the 6 farthest objects in the Kuiper Belt exhibit elliptical orbits that are all oriented in a similar direction within physical space and tilted approximately 30 degrees downward relative to the orbital plane of our 8 known planets. What's strange here is that, despite their distinct orbital velocities around the solar system, they maintain this alignment. The likelihood of such alignment occurring randomly is extremely low, around 0.007%. So, here comes Planet 9, a hypothetical massive celestial body that offers a plausible explanation for this strange phenomenon, potentially exerting gravitational influence to shape these orbits. The initial theory didn't hold up for long, facing accusations of observational bias and calculation errors. Then, in 2017, another study popped up, sparking back the idea that maybe Planet 9 is out there after all. This time, Spanish astronomers tried a novel approach, focusing on observing extreme trans-Neptunian objects. These celestial bodies orbit the Sun in highly stretched elliptical paths, with average distances exceeding 13 billion miles. The research suggests that the distances between these objects' nodes and the Sun might provide clues to Planet 9's location. You see, these nodes are the points where a celestial body's orbit intersects the solar system's plane. When these objects reach these points, they're more likely to interact with other solar system bodies, potentially causing significant changes in their orbits or even collisions. So, if the trajectory of these extreme trans-Neptunian objects remains stable, everything's fine. But if it's not, well, that's a sign that something else, something big, is messing with their path. And that's exactly what the research found. There is something unseen out there, throwing these objects off course. And that something could be a planet, chilling at a distance between 300 to 400 times farther from the Sun than Earth. To this day, the study of the extreme trans-Neptunian objects is the strongest evidence we've got for Planet 9's existence. And if you're still not convinced by this theory, know that strange motions like these have led to planetary discoveries before. Neptune, for instance, was spotted because Uranus's motion didn't quite agree with the predictions of Newtonian gravity. But the deflection of its orbit could be explained if it was caused by a pull of an undiscovered planet. And just like that, we discovered Neptune. Now, the year is 2021, and there's all this buzz about Planet 9 again. After correcting some old guesses, studies are now leaning towards the idea that this mystery world follows an epic loop around the Sun every 7,000 years. That is massive news, because it means this planet might be closer than we ever thought, making it easier for our telescopes to spot it. The paper also suggests there is a whopping 99% chance that the funky orbits of these distant objects are all because of this unseen planet, not just some cosmic coincidence. Now, the odds of this whole situation being a fluke are down to a 1 in 250 chance, which is much better than the 1 in 10,000 chance back in 2016. All these optimistic numbers have brought us to where we are today, keeping our hopes and working on better equipment to continue the mission of spotting Planet 9. As mentioned earlier, researchers in Hawaii created some kind of treasure map utilizing the Panoramic Survey Telescope and Rapid Response System to eliminate 78% of its locations. This is great news, considering how challenging it is to find a planet-sized needle in a cosmic haystack. But unfortunately, Planet 9's presence remains a ghost in the dark outer reaches of our solar system. Enthusiasts are still convinced of its existence and believe it is only a matter of time before we celebrate the discovery of Earth's new cosmic cousin. They're putting their hopes on the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, which is currently under construction in Chile and is scheduled to begin science operations in late 2025. Over the course of 10 years, this observatory will scan the entire southern hemisphere sky every few nights with a 27-foot, fast-moving telescope equipped with the largest digital camera in the world. The idea is to catalog everything in the solar system, reaching out to and beyond Neptune, and tracking the movements of millions of celestial objects, including space junk, asteroids, comets, and stars. If Planet 9 is indeed out there, this next-generation telescope could be the one to find it. The existence of this mysterious planet is far from being universally accepted in the scientific community. That is simply because Planet 9 isn't the only explanation for the strange phenomenon occurring beyond Neptune. One theory suggests that a group of distant objects, such as dwarf planets, comets, and moons, might be collectively influencing the orbits of the extreme trans-Neptunian objects. Others believe that a black hole is behind all this. These compressed masses are some of the densest objects in the universe, potentially capable of affecting the orbits of other masses, like how this supposed ghost Planet 9 is believed to be doing. Another bold perspective suggests that our current understanding of the laws of gravity is flawed, actually incomplete. This theory, known as modified Newtonian dynamics, proposes that these distant icy objects exhibit strange behavior not due to influence from another planet, but rather because the immense gravitational field of the Milky Way is influencing them. However, even supporters of this theory acknowledge that it is too early to draw firm conclusions, and much more extensive research is still required. While we continue our relentless hunt for Planet 9, some astronomers have taken it a step further, suggesting the existence of a hypothetical Planet 10. This world has a mass and size like that of Mars or Earth and is located on the edges of the Kuiper Belt. But the thing is, if this alleged Planet 10 is indeed as small as scientists believe, it might not have enough gravity to clear its orbit of debris. And that is pretty similar to what happens with Pluto, being one of the reasons why it got into trouble back in 2006. So yeah, it's better not to get too excited. This supposed Planet 10 might end up classified as another dwarf planet.